Cube root equations. There's not a whole lot that I need to actually teach you about how to solve cube root equations because you already know how to do it. You just don't know that you do. Okay? So before I show you how to do equations, let me ask you this question. If I say, let's just say 9, as opposed to this, how do I undo a squared? Square root. So we could take square root of both sides and figure out the answer really quickly, right? How do you undo a cube? So I could take cube root of both sides and figure out the answer pretty quickly, right? So what if I had that? How do I undo a square root? Square both sides, right? Again, I could figure out the answer pretty quickly. But what about this? We've never talked about that. Why would you just cube it, Blaze? Because that's how you undo a cube root, right? You undo a cube root by cubing both sides. And while you may not know 8 cubed in your head, because I don't, you could figure it out in the calculator pretty quickly, right? Okay? Here's the thing, though. What is this one called? A square root. And what's this one called? Why didn't I write a little baby 2 in front? It's implied, right? It's understood. It's what I use most often, so I don't have to write it. Just like I didn't write a 1 in front of this x squared, but we know there's 1 there, right? Because it's the thing that's most often, so if it's implied, I don't have to write it, correct? Okay, I need to ask you about this, though. What's the difference between these two problems right here? So just the notation, right? Aren't they exactly the same? Isn't the square root the same as to the 1/2 power? It's almost like we've talked about this before. It's almost like on the last page of our exponent foldable, we wrote this. Now we haven't talked about it since last year. But let's remember that a to the 1/2 power, if the top is the power and the bottom is the root, and it's raised to the 1/2 power, isn't that just the square root of a? So then what would this mean? What would this mean? The top is the power, the bottom is the root, so that's the same as this one, isn't it? Okay, so I need you to remember that today when we're doing our examples. All right? So, first example, you ready? What do I want to do first to solve for x? I want to divide both sides by 3. That's exactly right. Okay? When I divide this side by 3, 3 divided by 3 is 1. So I just have the cube root of x on the left-hand side. And on the right-hand side, I have 4. How do I undo a cube root? Cube it. If I'm going to cube both sides, cube, cube. What is the cube root of x cubed? I did that on purpose, didn't I? I did that on purpose to get rid of the cube root. So now I just have whatever was inside the root sign, don't I? Equals what? 64. Did you know that off the top of your head? Or did you have to do 4 raised to the 3rd power? Great, that's fine. When have I ever expected you to memorize facts like that? No. Sometimes you're going to get so used to them, you're going to know them, and that's fine. Okay? Is this the right answer? It's not? Oh, we should plug it in? Okay, so if I plug it in, 64. Okay, so the cube root is 64. Do you know how to do the cube root in your calculator? Can I show you real quick, just in case you don't? So I'm going to make a new document that is a calculator. Look right here. It's right above the caret sign, the blue writing or the yellow writing, depending on what calculator you have. If I do control that, it gives me a box to fill in. And I put a 3. I'm sorry. Let me see if I can make it focus. It was there for just a second. See how there's a cube root right there? And then I say 64, and it tells me the answer is 4. Okay, so again, use the control button and this button right here to give me that in root x, and I can do then whatever kind of root I want. You okay with that? So if I do cube root of 64, I do get 4, and what's 4 times 3? Oh no, now it's mad. So does 12 equal 12? Seriously? You can do it. Yes, there you go. So is this the right answer? Yeah, I just checked it. It worked, right? 12 equals 12. So this is the right answer. So here's the really cool part about this. You know how I've been kind of getting on your case lately to make sure you come and check the answers in my book or on my worksheet? Do you have to? Not this time. You should know for a fact whether it's the right answer or not because you've plugged in the answer, right? Good. Are you still allowed to come and check my worksheet just in case you want to make sure? Yeah, because there's still a possibility that when I plugged it back in, I did something wrong, right? So if you'd like to still come and check tomorrow, that's great, but you will be able to know for a fact whether your answer is right or not. Okay? Any questions so far? Okay, let's do another one then. How do I undo to the 1/3 power? Cube it, right? So I cube both sides. Some people like to think, oh, it's the reciprocal of that. Well, it is. So good. Whatever power that is, reciprocal, multiply each power by that, and we can go on, right? So what is x plus 4 to the 1/3 to the 3rd? X plus 4 equals what? What's 5 to the 3rd? 125. And then to solve, subtract 4 from both sides. X equals 121. Is it right? Plug it in. 121 plus 4, 125. 125 to the 1/3 power, or cube root of 125? 5. Does 5 equal 5? Yeah. Then I know that's the right answer. Okay? Now somebody earlier said, oh, that's a big number. I laughed inside my head. You'll understand why when you do number 3 on your homework. I'm just telling you. Okay? You ready to do one more example? Yes or no? Okay. Cube root of x plus 5 equals the cube root of 2x minus 3. First reaction? Oh no, it's hard. Right? Well, on all these other ones, we've isolated the root sign or isolated the parentheses with the fractional exponent, right? And then we raise it to a power. Well, at least this one's isolated. Well, this one's kind of isolated too from the other one, right? So what should I do to get rid of this root sign? Cube it. If I cube both sides, oh my goodness, what just happened? Okay, the root signs just both of them went away, didn't they? And I just get x plus 5 equals 2x minus 3. So if it looks hard, is it always? No, because you've been solving like equations like this since I think 7th grade. Sorry, not second. Some people second. I don't know. I'm sorry. I got excited there for a second. So if I subtract x from both sides and I add 3 to both sides, x equals 8. Is it correct? So this is an interesting situation. I'm doing this problem on purpose. First of all, because it has a root sign on both sides. Second of all, because of what happens when we plug it in. Okay? Watch what happens when I plug in 8, when I substitute 8 to check for the answer. 8 plus 5. 13, right? Do you know what the cube root of 13 is? I don't either. So I'm going to ignore it for a second. 2 times 8. 16 minus 3. So I got the cube root of 13 over here. Guys, do I have to know what the cube root of 13 is? Or is it enough to know that they're equal? So that's the right answer, isn't it? questions? You guys are a little strange today. I mean, as opposed to any other day, I mean, really. I want you to understand that there's a problem in your homework that I'm not giving you an example of. I need to see how you react to it. Okay? There's a problem that is going to be not exactly the same as all three examples that I gave you right here. Okay? I want to see how you react to it. I do that every once in a while. You know I do. And if you cry, I'm going to tell you I have Kleenex. Okay? I want to see how you're going to react to it. And we'll go from there. Are there any questions about cube root functions? Why were they so easy? You've already done square root functions, and it's the same process, isn't it? Okay? Any questions? Peace.